Hey guys, I'm Shafina. This is Naseem. This week's episode, we are talking about do we have a strong basis of friendship?
Yeah, that's a good one, that one. What's your thoughts, Shapina?
I feel, actually, from my experience now, looking at things, I feel like having a strong basis of friendship is very important. Very important. I feel that sometimes people see each other, sparks fly, ignore everything else, and then they dive straight in. And again, from experience now, looking forward in future, I think friendship is very, very important.
Yeah.
That's my
So, in terms of friendship, what would the key things, what would stand out? What does friendship mean to you? How would you recognize that?
okay. Comparing to one of my like really good friends, we have trust, we have respect for each other, we have loyalty, great communication, fun times. We can talk about anything. If there is a like this has happened in my friendships. If there's been something that I've not been too keen about, I'm like, hey, could we have a chat about this? And then we just, talk it out and get through it and, move over it and just say, okay, this made me feel like this made me feel like that. Cool. I love you. We're good. So that kind of thing. And respecting each other's boundaries. We do that a lot. A lot of my friends are married and stuff. And so I know that I wouldn't call them up just randomly at 12 o'clock at night to talk about my life. Like there's a barrier understanding they've got their own life. And so we have that respect, trust, loyalty, boundaries, respect, and just being there for each other. Sometimes one of my really good friends, sometimes she needs me more, and sometimes I need her. Sometimes we need a shoulder to lean on just to just rant things out. So that is something there, and the other person just listens. It's not always about finding a solution, but you just need someone to hear you out. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
this seems so, me saying this out loud seems like, why didn't I think of this before? Honestly,
Mm-hmm.
because that describes the perfect partner. I
Mm-hmm.
feel
Mm-hmm.
thinking about it
So
now.
it's I'm hearing the kind of sense of being non-judgmental, being open, being supportive coming through there.
Yeah, 100%. Because your friends, if I had friends that judged me, they wouldn't be my friends. So 100%. Being judged is one of the worst things for me anyway. That will just repel. I'll repel from that relationship, whatever it is. So yeah, definitely someone that's non-judgmental, someone that I could hang out with, and be myself with. Yeah, and not be judged for being myself. And the boundaries and respect is huge. Not, I wouldn't ever like, sometimes you may hear of certain relationships and things like that where there's been arguments and things can get quite out of hand. However, in a friendship, we just wouldn't act that way. We just wouldn't. So I don't know why we do it, or it has been done in to our partners. And so yeah, I think if we had a strong basis of friendship as part of your marriage relationship, that would solve a lot of problems.
Mm-hmm. In my environment, we talk about being what's the word? Being the powers of sort of being persuasive, but being intelligently persuasive. So you might not want to do XYZ, but if I speak about the features and benefits of doing that thing, or initially you're not too keen, but then when you think, oh, I never thought about this as a positive or that as a positive, then that can come into a relationship. So what's your thoughts on like being with someone who's not really influenced by you? So you might feel strongly about something and they just don't think anything of it. So how important is influence in friendship?
It's an interesting question. I'm just trying to relate it to so I have different I'm trying to think in terms of friendship, and so friendship relationship would be different for me. If it was just my friendship, and they didn't want to believe in something that I believed in or whatever, it's cool. I would, this is my own kind of thing, so maybe I'm learning something here about myself. I would be like, okay, cool, that like that's fine, we'll agree to disagree or whatever, like we all have our own opinions. But I think sometimes when it comes to me, and say if I had my partner that I would want to be with, I would want them to follow the same thing as me, my same belief and mindset, because then I'm like, if you don't, then we clash. That's
Mhm.
how that's for me, that's how I take that one.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's
Mhm. And how
really.
open would you be to sort of agree to disagree on certain things? So you might not agree on everything, but you might agree on some things and think, well, you think that, and even it could be you and I, like I might think differently on a certain thing. I wouldn't judge you for not thinking the same way as me, but I would definitely share with you like how I felt, which I've done over the last 6 7 months that we've been speaking on a regular basis. Well, I'll say, well, Sharina, I think it's a bit like this, and you're like, really? Well, now you put it like that, maybe there's something I could think about. So there have been sort of small drips of things that I thought, um, like for example, I think from the dean perspective, on your I don't know what you call them, things that you post. What do you call them again?
On my stories.
Your stories. That's it. Your
Posts,
stories.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's really cool that and if you've just made, prayed, you made a dua, or you're focusing on Ramadan or something's coming up. So it's like almost gradually filtered into your heart, like your belief. I believe is getting stronger, and it doesn't happen overnight. It's like a small thing that's placed, and gradually you just feel like, and like mashallah, you've mentioned it a few times that you can't miss the adhan. Like no one can sleep through it. So and I remember that from being in Pakistan, that it's really loud. Because in
Yeah,
your
I'm in
phone, it
Pakistan
might
right
it
now.
might beep a bit, and then you just turn your phone over, and you might end up falling asleep. But if there's a masjid close by, and that adhan, you cannot miss it.
Yeah.
And then you kind of feel a bit of achievement when you start whatever it is that you're putting into place, that you think, okay, I'm gonna, grow as a person. I'm gonna learn more things.
Mm,
And that's part of friendship as well, I think, to influence your friend, or inshallah ta'ala, we're talking in relationships, your
mm.
companion, to be a better version of themselves. But you can't do it overnight, is my point. So it would be sort of to drip feed that in and see if there's any changes in that. And this is all in my opinion, in the getting to know stage. So because once you've made that commitment, then that's who you've made that decision to be in that relationship.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, no, I definitely I hear you on that. And I think I have been sort of, if someone doesn't believe something that I believe, then I'm like, why not? I'm very like, it makes sense though. How can you not understand it? If it's something straightforward for me, for example, oh my God, if health and nutrition is some part of my background, and certain things, I'm just like, this makes sense. How is it so hard? And even from a dean perspective, when I've said things to certain people, my family members, I'm like, you can argue with me about Islamically if you want, because I'm going to win this argument. Like I'm very much like, um, you're meant to eat more fruit and vegetables. You're meant to drink water. You're not meant to overeat. You're meant to fill your belly up with water, air, and food. Like, three, 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 third,
Yeah,
third, third.
yeah,
So all
definitely.
these things I know might not look a certain way in terms of how I am with my work and everything else, but there are certain things that I'm like, is a sunnah way for a reason.
Mm,
So a lot of my beliefs, I feel, my mindset wise, um, in terms of sort of, I guess, always wanting to learn and grow and work on myself to become better. I feel like if someone isn't like that, then I'm like, to me, it doesn't make sense. Well, I think it depends. It really does depend on what the actual thing is. So if it's one of my needs, that's what it is. If it's one of my needs and that is something to agree or disagree on, I can't agree to disagree if it's a need. It's basically,
mhm,
we can't move forward.
mhm, mhm, mhm. So
That's
you
what
would
I've.
recognize that now. So friendship aside, if your needs are not met, you understand that then that can't be a friendship and a relationship.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess I'm referring more into a relationship, but friendship as well, I suppose, because you become the sort of 5 people you hang around most with. So for me, I feel if I was to hang around with certain people, I'd want them to have the similar needs, basically the same needs, because then we're going to excel.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's fine. Everyone's needs are different. There's no like right or wrong in terms of the needs. It's just if they match, then that's going to be a longer lasting relationship or
Mm-hmm.
friendship, or whatever type of relationship that is.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that if the needs are not the same, then yeah, they tend to drift apart. Just thinking about it now and reflecting back on certain friendships I've had and things that have ended and all that. I suppose the needs are important in a friendship and a relationship. And obviously, if you've got a relationship to be good, it's good if it's a good friendship first, and you recognize those and you build that, and then from there think, okay, now that I actually kind of know this person, maybe I can take it to another stage. Yeah.
So I was listening to a podcast with Imran Khan's ex-wife, is it Jemima Khan, her name? This morning, yeah. So she was talking about on the line of like friendships and marriages, and she was talking about how when she married Imran and she lived with his family in Pakistan, there was a lot of and how she saw it was assisted marriages, which was there's a lot of people that she knows in her life that were assisted to find a companion. It's very different from how the West see it as arranged and forced and all that kind of stuff. And then she said, obviously, she's friends with Princess Diana, and she was saying that her marriage was an arranged marriage of sorts, an assisted marriage, because she knew Prince Charles for a very short space of time before she married him. And he was then chosen by his family. Does that make sense? So that's recent. That's not in times gone by, you know? So she was talking about how important friendship was. And in that time, the friendship wasn't, you couldn't have built a friendship in that time. They met like 15 times or something before they got married. And there was no friendship built. So I think the friendship built part, I'd agree with you. I think it's an important part, foundation of to build something stronger on.
100%. It's so important, and I wish I knew this before. I really wish I did. But you learn eventually. You get there eventually. There's no age limit of when you learn or whatever, things like that. You can tell my eyes are a bit watery. I get emotional about these things. I really do. And again, this is why I want to do this podcast, because if I feel benefits from things that I'm learning and discussing, maybe someone else out there, you know, can benefit as well. And maybe, you know, if you're watching this now, you can share this with someone, share this with another sister or brother that needs that guidance or support or health. You know, we can make a difference and a change in the world. And that's another thing as well why I want to do this. You know, you change someone's life, you help them, you grow them, you open up their, you know, their knowledge and understanding so they can make better choices. I don't have a tissue here, but oh, I do, excuse me. Yeah. So oh, it's pink. When in Pakistan. different tissues. The next one's white.
That's it. You know what they say, pink to make the boys wink. Is that not what they say?
This is the first time I've heard it. You always learn something new on this podcast, huh? It could be anything. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
obviously.
So
everyone hears different things. Yeah, no, I remember that from growing up. Everyone used to say, "Oh, pink to make the boys wink," and I'd be like, "What does that mean?"
I don't want anyone to be winking. Like,
keep your winks over there.
keep over there. I'm busy right now.
So
yeah. No.
So just very quickly, how are you finding Pakistan? So this is the first podcast we're doing in Pakistan, Shafina. How are you finding it?
International podcast here.
Yeah.
I'm loving it. You know, I hear England's very cold right now, so I can tell you right now, alhamdulillah for the weather here. It's perfect. It's like English summer, so it's not too hot. I'm not too cold. I'm just enjoying it. Food is amazing. I can tell you that my body is still not used to it, but that's our UK body for us in Pakistan. And I'm excited. I've got some things going on here. We'll see how that goes, and seeing my family, and definitely understanding a different culture, a different way of life. You know, it's very interesting. Very interesting. I'm learning things, and I think I'm picking up a few things that I will take back with me, inshallah. So it's been beautiful. Alhamdulillah.
Oh, good. I'm pleased. And I'm very pleased that the internet is working and we get to talk to each other.
I know, I was scared. I
I
was
don't
like,
think we're going to connect. Like, are we going to be able to connect? So that's really good. So yeah,
alhamdulillah.
no,
I was just gonna say I'm in
brilliant.
Peshawar right now. Peshawar, I've got Wi-Fi here, so it's good.
Okay. Well, you're looking good. You're tanning well, so you must be enjoying the weather out there. So that's brilliant. And feeling sorry for us guys that are like chalk white with no sun and it's
Sending love.
freezing cold outside. But yeah, no, mashallah, that's really good. So hold on the friendship thing. I think that, if you're listening out there and you're thinking, you know what, I do want a companion, I do want, because I have a lot of conversations with people. We were doing the event at the London festival yesterday, and so I was there for the whole weekend. I've had conversations with hundreds of people, and there was this one lady like, look, there's no one good out there. No one is serious. No one wants to settle down. Everyone's got an agenda. Marriage is not for me. Obviously, she's gone through a very difficult time, and I was, having a conversation with her. Again, back to the friendship. That did you go from knowing that person straight into relationship, or did you wait to build the friendship? And she stopped for a while and she goes, no, we were never friends, not from the start. I'm like, okay. So I think the having the basis of trust, someone that's going to support you, as you said, all the good things that friends do, not judge you, listen to you, be kind to you, try and persuade you if there's something that they want you to do. Give it time, have the patience to help you get there. I think the friendship mindset is definitely a solid one for like building any kind of relationship, whether it's a marriage, it's a business relationship, it's a work relationship, it's with your actual family. I think all of the time spent in actually building that unjudgmental stance to your communication. I think it's really important.
It is really important. There was something else that I was going to say, but I will say that the lady that you spoke to, she mentioned we can, I guess, talk about mindset and affirmations on the next podcast, because it's
mindset interesting.
If we keep saying, if we keep saying, if we keep saying, there's no one else, there's no one out there, and I'm this, and no one's this, and no one that. Those vibrations and mindset, we'll talk about that on the next one for sure. It's really important. It's something that I've practiced recently, more so. I was practicing it anyway, but really being careful of what I put out there for sure. Important. But yeah, going back to the friendship, it's really, really important. When you have that friendship, like I said, you got your boundaries, you got the respect, you got the communication. You just, to a friend, you wouldn't cross certain barriers. You just wouldn't. And if you can create that with someone that you're going to spend life with, then you'll always not cross those boundaries. I feel like sometimes people think that, oh, husband and wife, they can totally cross all these boundaries, and I think that's disrespectful, and that's where things fall apart. Voices should never be raised. It's not like, oh, we got emotions. No, they should be done in a nice mannerism. And if we're going to go back to the ways of the Sunnah, I don't think we were ever meant to be getting angry and shouting at each other. It's never the right way. So I suppose taking into practice that alongside in bringing the friendship into, and the respect into the relationship, into the marriage. Maybe there's people watching this that are already married, and you kind of want to build that relationship back up or something. If you can find the friend within each other. That's what I was going to say. I think the friendship is really important as well, because sometimes people can, I suppose, get married or, get to know someone, but feel like something's missing. I'm not saying you get married and that's it, forget your friends. What I'm saying is sometimes it's, if you can get as much as you can from your spouse, I think that's beautiful, to find that friend in them, the one you just want to hang out with, or go to the movies with, or, play pool with. I don't know what friends do. Just get nachos together with, whatever, like what you would do. It's nice, or go bowling or something. If you can do that with your partner and they become your best friend, that's the most, I think, beautiful kind of friendship relationship. And then you don't feel that you're missing out so much. So then and if everyone was kind of like that, everyone would be happy in their little
Mm,
families. And you occasionally see your friends here and there, but
mm,
your bestest friend hopefully is your spouse, inshallah. I feel
inshallah.
that.
And what's your thoughts on like outside influences? So if you're building a friendship, for example, our topic is if you're building a friendship for a future partner, and
Yeah.
if that person is influenced by others around them or they have other behavior traits that will affect their mindset, what's your thoughts on that?
I probably will say have a look at the person you're probably getting to know and who they hang out with. And if it's not something that you are, it's not your cup of tea kind of thing, or and you think, okay, if they're hanging out with these people, maybe it's not something that I would want for me, because that would influence, it would influence the person. And then be aware of that beforehand. Don't complain about it, I guess, afterwards. Or if you do, like, everyone takes time to learn. You don't realize these things at first. So looking at it now that you guys are watching this podcast, hopefully, you can say, okay, if I'm getting to know someone, who are they hanging out with? What kind of mindset people do they have? And like, again, there's no right or wrong. It depends what your needs are, what you want in that friendship and relationship. But be mindful of, outside influences will have an impact.
Mm.
Like, again, that person we could become we become the average of the 5 people we hang around with. So the person that you're going to be with, they're also going to become the 5 people that hang around with, the average of those people. So have a look. One is going to be yourself, they're going to hang out with, and then the other 4 people, who else are they closest with? And if it's something that you feel like, yeah, okay, cool,
Oh,
I
that's
can
a good
relate.
point you've mentioned. So investigation. So when you're trying to get to know someone, also
Yeah.
trying to get to know the 4 people they spend the most time with. I like that. Very
Yeah.
good. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Definitely. I like
That's an
that very
honor
much.
coming from you.
Yeah, no, I like that very much because obviously you are influenced, and even from the Dean perspective, you hang out with the perfume seller, you smell of perfume, and you hang out with the blacksmith, you smell of smoke, you know. And if you look in the sort of British way, you've heard it over and over. I'm sure you've heard it. You fly with the crows, you get shot with the crows.
I
So
haven't
yeah,
actually heard it.
no, heard it.
No, I think I missed some
Wow.
stuff growing up in
What,
California.
what bubble have you been living in? You know heard it.
My own bubble.
Your own bubble.
I have now. I get there eventually. I'm a little slow sometimes.
No, but it's true though.
But
Fly
yeah.
with the crows, get shot with the crows, So it's definitely good to hang out with good company for sure and have those people as like little mentors and people that you aspire to be. They talk about a lot of that in business, don't they? Hang out with the people who are successful and, you'll see how they do things and then, become that, aspire to be that, inshallah. But no, definitely we'll make lots of prayers that whoever anybody's talking to that they do decide to become friends first. They do and understand who the main 4 people that they spend their time with, and as well their family, their influence. Like this will tomorrow be your family. So yeah, so I think today was good in sort of putting these reminders in place, and I hope you guys have enjoyed our podcast today, and we'll be back with mindset for the next one.
Yes, inshallah.
So thank you, Shafina, for joining us all the way from Pakistan. I'm in London today, so we could be like a million miles apart. So yeah, I'll be back in Glasgow next week. But as always, it was great catching up with you. And thank you to our listeners for giving the time and jumping onto our podcast. And we look forward to hearing from you next time. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Bye.
Thank you so much for taking the time out to listen to this podcast. If you found this beneficial, give this video a like and hit the subscribe button to be notified for the next episode.